Hello, and today we are going to look at the EdXL GCSE Drama Component 3 exam paper. As in 2020, when this is recorded, the exam paper is titled Theatre Makers in Practice. And in this presentation we're going to look at the opening section, Section A. Section A has two questions, A1 and A2. The first question is an acting question. It's worth 4 marks, and the question reads along the lines of: you are involved in staging a production of this play. Please read the extract on. So the play might be, let's say, Inspector Calls. So you are involved in staging a production of this play, Inspector Calls. Please read the extract. There will be an extract attached to the exam papers. There are a lot of text. You have a choice. You will have studied one at school. We're going to focus today as if our text was Inspector Calls. So, there are specific choices in this extract for performers. What that means is you have choices as an actor: how you say lines, how you move, how you act, how you interact. Acting choices. As an actor, you decide. So, question A1 focuses on this. Questions might be along the lines of: you are going to play, let's say, Mr. Burling, or a relevant character from the chosen play. Could be you are going to play Proctor from The Crucible. Question asks you to explain 2 ways you would use, and in this instance, let's say, non-verbal communication, to play this character in the extract. So you are going to play Mr. Burling. Explain 2 ways you would use non-verbal communication to play this character in the extract. We could change non-verbal communication, which is why I've highlighted it in red. We could swap out, take out non-verbal communication, and we could put vocal communication. We could use physical skills to play this character. So performance skills is what section A is. Performance skills, what you do as an actor. A1 is specific. It gives you the performance skill. In this case, non-verbal communication. So examples of communication skills, of non-verbal communication skills. Now you would receive 1 mark for each skill. We could talk about body language, which could be closed body language, open body language. We could add a little bit more detail than just saying I would use body language. I would use closed body language. Closed body language, arms folded, head down, everything very introvert close, as if you were showing your character as anxious or nervous, pensive character. Contrasting that, you might say you would use open body language. Arms wide, head up, chest out, shoulders back, which emphasizes, utilizes the character's confidence. The character's in a happy state. So closed and open body language. You could use movement. That's non-verbal communication. How we move on the stage. The use of the space. The pace in which we move is important. Does your character move fast? Does a character move slow? What does that tell you about a character? The proxemics. Proxemics. How close, how characters stand on stage in relation to each other. So for example, if we have 2 characters that like each other, that are friends, they might be close to each other. The use of proxemics gives the audience hints. We see, we read between the lines. 2 characters that don't like each other might stay well apart from one another. It might imply that there may have been an argument beforehand and the characters aren't very happy with each other. They do not want to be close to each other. Proxemics. We could use gesture. Gesture, pointing the finger, waving your hands, turning away. A gesture, non-verbal communication. Facial expression, happy face, sad face, furrowed eyebrows. Eye contact. Will you have your character staring directly at the character when they ask the question? Unable to make eye contact, looking away sheepishly. They're all examples of communication skills. So, part 2. You will only receive 1 mark per communication skill. To gain the 2nd mark, you must link it to the text. So we've looked at communication skills. 1 mark per communication skill. The 2nd mark for the link. Linking it to the text. The link is where we gain 2 marks for each point. So we get 4 marks. We need 2 skills, and each skill has to have a point. A mark for the skill, a mark for the point. There's 2 examples. I would use fast movement from stage left to stage right when playing Mr. Burling to emphasise his frustration as he says, and include a quote from the extract in the text. Remember, we are given an extract very similar to our English language paper, where we, in AQA English language, where you are given an extract and you were asked questions on it. It is the same for this. Another example. Secondly, I would use gesture to show Mr. Burling is not happy with the inspector. I would point my finger directly at the inspector on the line, quote. Now notice there are only 2 lines. Obviously it's on computer, so it might be a few more lines if you were handwriting this, but we say the skill, fast movements, and we say why, to emphasise his frustration on the line, quote. Secondly, I would use gesture, point the finger directly at the inspector on the line, quote. Very swift, straight to the point answers. We do not need to write paragraphs and paragraphs. It's a 4-mark question. You can, as I have done, use bullet points, which makes it a lot easier for the examiner marking. It shouldn't make a difference, but we want to have every advantage we can. So we could bullet point each point. We could paragraph, short paragraph, short paragraph. A way to practice this would be make a list of skills: eye contact, gesture, movement, voice, stage space. Have an extract, open your book at a page, open the text. If you're doing inspector calls, flick through inspector calls, open it. List of skills, find a line that you feel, I could use eye contact on this line, write it down, and then make a note, a director's note. So stare at the inspector with a look of discontent. It's a nice way to practice. Which brings us on to question A2. This is 6 marks, so 2 extra marks in this question. So we have to do a little bit more. I prefer this question. We get more freedom on it. So you are going to play, and we'll stay with Inspector Calls, Mrs. Burling. She's reluctant to admit that she knows Eva Smith, known as Daisy Renton. Remember, it's the same style of question, regardless if you at your school have studied The Crucible or any of the set texts that you have choices from. The questions are the same. It is the same formula. As a performer, give 3 suggestions how we would use performance skills to show this. The difference is, question A, it asks for 2. This question asks for 3. In question A1, it was specific to the performance skill. It might ask you how you would use non-verbal communication. In question 2, it's a lot more broader. It says performance skills. You have the choice. It is a variety. Performance skills, vocal skills, non-verbal communication, movement, space, physical skills. As an actor, a performance skill is what you do to show your character and your character's intentions. You must provide a reason for each suggestion you make. So an example, well, the performance skills, before we go on, you need to include 3 performance skills, link each skill. This is what we've just talked about. We could talk about movement, gesture, voice, use of space. Examples. Now you'll notice colour coordinated. Love using my colours. Red, the skill you're going to use. Green, how you were going to use it. Purple, a quote. And yellow, a little bit of extra information just to show your knowledge and understanding of the text. If we follow the red, green, purple, yellow, and you know your performance skills, that is all you have to do to pick up the marks. My first performance skill, I would use gesture, 1 mark. I would wave my hands in disgust in a dismissive manner towards the inspector when he asks, include quote, 2 marks. And just for the extra bit of information, I would do this as if to show that I think it is ridiculous to imply I was in any way involved with Eva Smith. Notice the use of the personal pronoun I. The question is, you are going to play the character. Mrs. Burling, Mr. Burling, Edna E, whoever. Personal pronoun I. Sure you understand the question. Secondly, I would use my voice, there's a mark for the skill, and change the pitch to a higher voice, also increasing in volume as I react to the inspector's question, quote, implying that I am shocked and flabbergasted at the accusation. We will pick up the marks on there, probably too much information. We don't need to write as much as that. We need to say what the skill is and link it how we would use it. And thirdly, again, it's bullet pointed. I like using bullet points. There is no rule that you can't use bullet points in the exam paper. It is not specific. It doesn't say write in full sentences and full paragraphs. Could you bullet point it? There is nothing in the specification or in the mark schemes that says any other. And that is section A, the 4 mark A1 and the 6 mark A2.